No promises, only a window. That's what the book is, in which each page closes in on itself. It not only asks, but also makes itself available, and at the same time, distributes and delivers pieces and keys throughout its entirety. As has been repeated many times, nothing and no one has any obligation to read it. However, it will always be where it has always been, a support for anyone who, even briefly, glimpses awakening and escapes from beautiful and well-crafted, yet empty words, phrases, and texts. In this regard, the book is practical and simple, and does not seek to please, as it is neither prose nor verse. Rather, it resembles the simplest laboratory recipe. A recipe that describes the properties of materials, identifies weights and measures, results and their uses, and covers the ovens, the grading of fires, and the laboratory itself. The book inspires the text that says, wonderful adaptations will be made, through what is given here as a means. The book provides the means, for understanding that a figure is just a figure, and comprehending the law of its formation, gives the being the space it needs to work. This key is a guarantee that the being gives to itself, as it places itself in the perfect space of necessary solitude and intangibility. A solid and paradoxical solitude, due to the vast presence of everything necessary, that does not allow the being to be alone. Regarding mistakes and successes, the book guides the practice of the process, conceptualized as unfolding, that is, the moment when the being places itself in two or more places, at the same time. In this process, the being sees itself in the character, and understands the concept of compassion. It also sees how the subtle world penetrates the dense world, and understands the laws of world formation. It also observes the actions of influences and influencers, and sees the play of intelligences in what is conceived as destiny. The being understands the approaches and distances. It also understands that the sense the observer uses is different from all the senses that keep it in the character. Compassion arises from the recognition that the being, manifested in the character, tends to act in thoughts, words, and actions according to the influences it receives from the subtle world. Regrets result from the misunderstanding in making decisions that are out of alignment with imposed rules, laws, and principles. This misunderstanding is due to belief in the possibility of choices. However, the being has the capacity to act as the protagonist of itself. This means that the being imposes its identification and control onto the character. Action in the manifestation can proceed in parallel with conscious connections to the new state of being, in which new sensations arise and are gradually integrated. The being recognizes this new perceptive state, and depending on its readiness, lets itself be taken to a greater or lesser depth. Visits begin, as the things of the manifested world are relative to this world, and do not provide the knowledge that the being seeks. The relationship of knowledge, which was previously about understanding creation, the mechanisms that govern it, and the relationships in this universe, is no longer necessary, for with the unfolding of the being, all this knowledge becomes clear.